We're recording. Hi.
Hello.
This is Tim.
I'm Bob.
And we are Precarious Pixels.
Yeah! It's going to be weird every time.
It will be. So, jumping right into it, we've been away for a little while, but we're going to give you all the news that we've heard so far. Starting with the amazing news that they're going to make a Ghostbusters 3. Well, technically 4, but this is going to follow in the first two as a sequel to that one and not the Lady Ghostbusters. Which...
Is that what it's called now?
I don't know. It wasn't called, like, Lady Ghostbusters.
It was called Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. And then when it came out on DVD, I think they did that Edge of Tomorrow thing.
Okay. Where
they gave it a weird subtitle.
Oh, yeah.
So Edge of Tomorrow became Live, Die, Repeat, which was a better name.
Which was a better name.
And then Ghostbusters became Ghostbusters Answer the Call.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot that it did the Answer the Call.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was already a good Ghostbusters.
There was.
Yes.
There were, I would argue, two.
Yes.
You don't believe that.
Well, the second one wasn't as good as the first one.
The second one is super quotable, and I love it.
What? Vigo the Carpathian?
Vigo the Carpathian. That's right.
You were like the buzzing of flower to him. Love that guy. But yeah, so this will be a sequel to those two, done by Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman, who did the first Ghostbusters movie.
And Space Jam.
Now,
I just thought that was important.
Okay. Jason Reitman, pretty sure he's done Juno, or directed Juno. He also, I think, was one of the co-writers on Monster House. So he's got like some pretty good credits to him. This is getting into the possible spoilers, so spoiler warning. At least from the trailer, it looks like the Ecto-1 car is in a barn, and someone's fooling around with a proton pack. And what I've heard so far is it's basically, I think it's about 4 teenagers, I think like 2 boys, 2 girls, who find maybe a haunted house in their neighborhood, find that they have a retired Ghostbuster from the first 2 movies living in their neighborhood, and like ask them for help. I think that's what's going to happen. So, yeah. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that they gave little clues in the trailer. You hear like the sounds of the proton pack. They played like that eerie music from the first one. They even have like the thing with the storms, because if you remember in the first Ghostbusters movies, the storms kind of represented something as well. Like I think they had it in a few of them.
Like a disruption.
Like disruption kind of thing. Because I remember like I think in the first movie when the Zool shows up, there's like a giant storm over that building in New York.
Yeah. So
I like this. I think it could be like a really good like spirit kind of sequel to it. I think it's a good idea. Like, why not like make it a good story and not so much about like, hey, let's do like what we redid already, because we've seen that and we've seen it done well. So why not just do a fun story to it? So this could be the start of a bunch of stuff. They're saying this is like a big maybe right now, but they might be working on an animated Ghostbusters movie as well, kind of like the Into the Spider-Verse people might be working on that right now.
So they're going to take their properties and they're going to make money on them.
Yes.
Which is not a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah. So they'll have this live-action movie for 2020, I think the release date was. Summer 2020.
Summer 2020, yeah.
And so I'm betting the next summer, because it does take time to make an animated movie, CG or otherwise, I'm betting 2021 or 22 is going to be the next Ghostbusters, but it'll be like an animated one.
Now, do you think that would be the original cast?
Maybe, or maybe it'll be like something even like a different take on it completely. Because the Spider-Verse guys, it wasn't exactly a Spider-Man I mean, it was a Spider-Man movie, but it was like taken in a much different way than the previous Spider-Man movies. So I'm looking forward to seeing like what they're going to do with it. Right now, it's just early speculation, but I'm sure it's going to be a whole lot better than that last one. It was just not that enjoyable. And that's just not me saying that. It's a lot of people.
It's apparently box office numbers.
Yeah.
$70 million lost.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hopefully, this will be good. And speaking of Spider-Man movies...
we're not going to talk about the other controversy surrounding it.
Of what? Which one?
Leslie Jones.
Yeah. But I think it was more of just... Maybe she wanted to do another movie, and... I don't know.
Okay. I feel like she's trying to place the blame elsewhere, which is what they were doing with that movie before it even came out.
They were. And honestly, I've heard a lot of women reviewers and like it and saying like what the whole reasoning behind it was and stuff, and they like it's not just like a because even my wife who watched the movie with me after 10 minutes said just shut this off, it's awful. And it has nothing to do with, like... It
doesn't have to do with gender, and that's the problem.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with gender. It was a bad movie. And I think trying to push it onto a gender thing is a bad idea. I think it's just accept that it was just a bad movie. If they want to make an all-females Ghostbusters movie, I'm fine with that, but make it a good movie.
Bridesmaids is one of probably the biggest comedy successes.
Oh, yeah. I love that movie.
20 years.
That's a great movie. Also directed by Paul Feig.
It has half of the same cast.
It does.
It has the same writer-director.
Right.
It's hilarious.
Yes.
So, it has nothing to... And it's a mostly all-female cast. I would say it's a more female-oriented cast than Ghostbusters.
Yes. And I think... oh, God. I can't remember the name of the lady who played the bride.
Rose Byrne?
No. Rose Byrne was the bride, the maid of honor lady.
In Bridesmaids?
Yeah, the woman who played the actual bride.
You're thinking Kristen Wiig.
No. Kristen
Rose
Wiig
Byrne was another... Oh, she was the rival bridesmaid.
She was right. The main bride.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was... I forget if it was her or Kristen Wiig actually wrote Bridesmaids. I'm pretty sure it was maybe even both of them like together wrote Bridesmaids.
Oh, it was... oh my gosh.
She's really...
Maya...
Yeah, I can't think of...
Maya Rudolph, is it?
Maybe. I can't think of her name right now. A lot of people are probably screaming as her actual name.
I think I might be right. She started out on SNL, too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She's really good. Really funny lady. She's done a lot of stuff.
She wrote a movie she did with John Krasinski back before he was like super actor.
I think it was like Here We Go or something like
Maya
that.
Maya Rudolph.
Yeah. She's really great. And honestly, maybe if she had helped out with that Ghostbusters movie, or Kristen Wiig maybe helped out with that Ghostbusters movie, it might have gone a little bit better. But, yeah.
Or maybe made it Ghostbusters, you know? Aside from the fact that you can't just introduce two elements and say it's the same.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, and honestly, it tried to be more like a comedy and not like a...
Did it?
I don't know. It was trying to be... I think it was
Did
trying to be...
jokes?
I know you're not a fan of that movie. But...
I feel like it didn't have jokes. I want to disagree. It had awkward and odd circumstances.
Right.
And it had long-winded explanations of words that might be funny.
Yes.
But I don't think it had jokes.
Okay.
And I would say that Ghostbusters, the original, probably didn't either.
What, have jokes?
Yeah. But it was funny.
It was funny. But it was like...
It wasn't jokey.
It wasn't jokey. Like, I felt like that was more... It had actual horror to it.
Look up the scene in Ghostbusters 2016 where... anybody that's listening, this is what you guys should do. Watch the scene where Melissa McCarthy hears a knocking at the door and is complaining about her Chinese food. And it goes on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. And they bring that back, like the wonton thing.
Like one wonton.
One wonton in her soup.
It's not a joke. It's not funny.
Right.
It wasn't funny the first time. Who screened this?
Yeah.
And whoever screened it, why didn't you fix it?
Yeah.
Before it came out, right? Like, that's why they have test audiences.
Yeah, and also, it just seems like this would be something that you would definitely put through a lot of people before you let it come out. Like, why did Jason Reitman or Ivan Reitman, any of them, like, get a look at this before it came out?
Dan Aykroyd apparently didn't.
Yeah.
And he was in it.
Yeah. And that was the other thing I didn't like. I was just like, don't stick these people in here and then make something worse. I get, like, seeing, like, having Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and oh my god, I'm blanking on everybody's name.
Ernie Hudson,
thank you. Like, in there, and then not like oh, those were the other Ghostbusters. And I'm just like, it's just bad.
Yeah, why ignore that?
Yeah, I have no idea why.
I guess the plot centered around it, so they had to.
I guess, I don't know.
But write a script.
Yeah.
Like, write a better script. I guarantee you Paul Feig could write a better script.
Yeah. And apparently there was other scripts. Max Landis had written a script that actually was about, like...
Alright, well...
Yeah, I know. It's Max Landis. But he does do crazy things. But his idea sounded good, at least. Like, maybe that could have been the start of one where it was like, the Ghostbusters is like a franchise, but things have gone down lately, and it had, like, the older Ghostbusters helping train, like, these new recruit kind of things. Like, that sounded more interesting to me than what this was, which is just plow over what had come before and make something that's not as good.
Rely on brand recognition, but
right.
Say the heck with the fans of brand.
Exactly.
It's probably not the best idea.
It is not the best idea. But we're going too much about the past. The future looks good.
Yeah, just like Star Wars Episode 8.
Yes. I know everybody's... Well, whatever. But, so... Things that are coming out, speaking of which, from Sony. So, Spiderman, Far From Home, had its first, like, real trailer come out.
It did.
It did. And we got to look at Mysterio, who was played by Jake Gyllenhaal, who I was like, I don't know what the exact story is.
I can already tell you.
I know exactly. Well, the spoilers for if you don't know who Mysterio is, but obviously he's setting up these weird elemental monsters or as effects, and he's pretending to be a superhero. For what reason, I'm not sure.
Why is he in England?
Italy.
Italy. Why is he there?
I don't know.
Is it because whoever wrote this movie said, Mysterio sounds like Pinocchio? Let's do it?
Yeah, sure. That's exactly why.
What is Mysterio's real name? Does he have a real name?
He does have a real name. I can't think of what it is right now.
Is it Tony?
It is not Tony.
Okay.
They're definitely not Tony.
Is it Mario?
No, not Mario. Wow.
I don't believe this.
Showing some real racism right now.
It's not a race. It's a country.
Yep.
I'm allowed to say these things.
Oh, is it because you're part Italian?
I am half.
Oh,
I'm
good.
half allowed.
Well, bully for you.
We pronounce it bullio.
It's It's Mario. Well, no. Okay, we're getting way off topic here. But, so the basic thing that happens in the trailer, Spider-Man's on, like a Euro trip thing with his school.
Yep.
Him and Mary Jane are getting serious. There's a whole joke about him, like, leaving the spider suit behind, but then his aunt packed it and, like, all that stuff. Did you see the international trailer?
No, I think I only saw the plane.
Okay. They do a couple of, like, the little changes in the international trailer to the American one. But it seems like he's not going to be doing any Spider-Man stuff in Europe, and then out of nowhere Nick Fury shows up and is like, "Hey Spider-Man, good to meet you. I'm Nick Fury. I got some stuff you got to do now." So
he's alive.
So he's alive. Spider-Man's alive. See, that's the thing I don't understand. Is this going to be... Because everybody's saying this takes place after Avengers. But it seems to me like it takes place before Avengers Infinity War.
It could be either, because Nick Fury's not really in Infinity War until the after credits.
Until the after credits scene where he disappears. And it doesn't seem like nobody has disappeared from... but
it wouldn't matter if they go back in time. It could be either.
Yeah. Or maybe they're just not going to say when this takes place. Maybe they're just going to kind of ignore that for right now. Because we know that Spider-Man...
This comes out after, right?
After...
Infinity War?
You mean...
Sorry.
Endgame. No. This will come out... I'm pretty sure it's before Endgame.
Okay. Before... Isn't that May?
I think. Because it's like... I think it's Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Endgame.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, which is kind of confusing to everybody because they were like, "Oh, wait a minute, how is this going to work?" But maybe they're just, I don't know, how this all works. But I guess they're just ignoring Infinity War for right now.
I guess.
But so anyways, Spider-Man's there, Nick Fury's there,
Happy Hogan.
Happy Hogan's there, hitting on his aunt. And they even make reference to, like, the fundraising thing that I guess his aunt is into. I think they even bring that up in the video game.
The homeless shelter, yeah.
Yeah, the homeless shelter.
It's a very big part of the game.
Yeah, because I've definitely seen that, and even Miles works there, I remember at one point.
Yep.
Yeah.
He gets him a job there.
Yep. So, at least in the video game, that's how they introduce Miles Morales and stuff.
Maybe they will.
I hope they do. I think it would be a good idea.
Miles Morales in Italy.
Well, I don't think he's in his high school yet.
Milo. Moralio.
Like an Italian Spider-Man. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, seems like Peter's like helping Nick Fury do something. There's a Mysterio guy fighting elemental monsters, which they've referenced. It isn't Sandman. It isn't Hydro Man.
That's the thing he's faking.
Well, no, they've actually referenced that these are other villains. I forget like the exact. I think they're called the Elementals, but it's like something else that I think they own the rights to. I don't know why they didn't just use the regular villains that Spider-Man has, but I guess they don't want to waste them.
Because Mysterio's cooler.
Yeah, Mysterio. But I do love that he looks. I gotta say, he looks dead on Mysterio, bubblehead and all.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that this is gonna, like it's pretty much how it should be. Like he's obviously faking this somehow. I'm not exactly sure how he's faking it, but he's faking these monsters showing up and then saving everybody from them. I'm not sure for what reason though. I'm betting it has to do with he's stealing something. Like maybe stealing art, because it's like it shows like London Bridge, so it's like maybe he's stealing stuff from London, stuff from Italy. Like I'm not exactly sure everything in it, but it looks good. I think it looks funny. It looks like what you expect to see in a Spider-Man movie, and it's like take him out of New York for once and give him like a little bit of different stuff going on.
Yeah. So he's far from home.
He's far from home. So. I'm just gonna just segue right into this, but so we saw a different kind of superhero movie with Samuel L. Jackson.
Did we?
I don't know. So if you haven't seen Glass, you can just skip past this because we're about to spoil the crap out of Glass. So
just don't see it.
Yeah, look right through it as Glass. See, he was trying to tell you what you should do before you even get to the theater, because this movie starts out interesting. I was like, okay, I kind of see where this could be good. But he loses you right at the end. And it pretty much picks up where Split ended. If you haven't seen Split.
Yeah, almost exactly where Split ends.
Exactly, yeah. So, David Dunn is looking for the Horde.
David Dunn, if you don't know who he is, go back 19 years.
That's right.
To Unbreakable.
Yes, and they bring back even his son. The actor who played his son is in this again.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
These crazy eyes.
Yeah, crazy eyes.
I don't know what's going on with him.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't think his eyes are that crazy.
His pupils are way too big.
Okay, maybe
Yeah.
maybe wear glasses.
He looks like Garfield.
He looks like a giant orange cat.
Yes, he has Garfield's eyes.
He does not have Garfield's eyes.
You'll see.
I did see.
If you torture yourself by watching this movie, you'll see it.
Yeah. So the basic thing is
There's no basic thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Bruce.
You can't explain this movie in less than 4 hours.
I can. Bruce Willis and
James
McAvoy,
the last king of Scotland.
yes, get caught by the police. They get put into a mental institution where Mr. Glass has been, Samuel Jackson's character,
for 19 years.
For 19 years, which, yeah, that's also kind of a weird thing. And the whole thing behind it is this one psychiatrist is trying to convince them that what they perceive as being superhuman is not actually what they are. They're just like people that can be explained away by science, like how intelligent they are, how they're able to climb walls,
how they punch through brick walls 5 minutes before that.
Right. Like the whole premise is this lady is trying to convince them that they're actually normal.
How they can read people's minds.
Right. That's just like somebody picking up like a good magician who can read, cues and stuff.
Because Bruce Willis during this movie reminded me of a mentalist.
Yeah. Not at all. And that was the whole thing. Even he says I don't see your train of thought. Even he kind of denies it.
Yeah, but then the next scene he's like, "Oh, I believe her."
Yeah.
What?
He has a little bit of doubt, but then it's just the thing that gets me is it's all building to this big scene at the end.
Where?
At the mental institution.
Yeah, but it looked like it was going to Nakatomi Tower.
Yes, it looked like we were going to get another Die Hard. But then I was I didn't see any of that in the trailers. I was it didn't seem like they were in a big building or anything, a new building. And I was I knew the budget for this movie was $20 million. So I'm they didn't build a whole set in some giant building or whatever for $20 million. I have a feeling this is just going to be this fight's going to happen at the mental institution, which it looks like it's going to be the Horde versus, I guess they start calling Bruce Willis's character the Overseer.
Better than the Tiptoer.
The Tiptoer, yeah. There's
name at one point.
Yeah, there's jokes about that, but and it seems like everybody from all the previous movies were there. The girl from Split shows up.
Yeah, why, Tim?
The what?
Why?
The girl who lived.
Why does she show up?
I think that's more of
because I saw Split.
Right.
And she didn't seem too thrilled with Kevin in Split.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, because I guess she kind of saw it as he gave her the courage to face down her uncle and say something about what was going on. If you haven't seen Split, this is kind of spoilers for that he was abusing her. So it seemed like she was in a better place.
Uncle, I don't remember him murdering her friends.
Yes, exactly. So it was kind of a little bit weird that she was friendly with him in a way. Yeah, that was a little bit odd, but then I guess it was just I appreciated that you kind of got to see the closure of what happened to her, because at the end of Split you're not exactly sure if she says something about the uncle or whatever.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what was a good movie on its own?
What?
Split.
It's true.
You know what? It was the opposite of a really bad sandwich.
Yeah.
It was like you went to the deli.
Right.
You got the perfect meat for the middle, whatever that is.
Right.
And then they just gave you this old moldy bread, and they stuck it on either end.
Mm-hmm. And
they were like, here's your unbreakable split
glass
sandwich.
See, but I think I like Unbreakable. I think it's pretty good. It's more of a drama than anything.
Oh, it's something.
Yeah.
It has some really good moments.
It does.
That 12-year-old that wrote that did a good job.
Yeah, I do think it's weird how they talk about comic books in it. Even in this one, Glass, they kind of talk about comics in such a weird way. I'm just like, I feel like this was written by somebody who isn't a fan of comic book characters. Like, this is just like, and I get why you can't talk about them, but then they talk about Superman, and I'm like, okay. But
did they?
They did.
They didn't say his name.
They didn't say Superman. They said, 1938. That was the first appearance of Superman. Action Comics. They mentioned Action Comics, so I was like, why can't you just say Superman?
Because I guess Action Comics is dead.
No, they still made Action Comics for till
but
like
maybe it's like
now. Actually, they still had
public domain name. Maybe
I don't think so. It's not 100 years yet. So I don't know, because they still make Superman and Action Comics. That's what they actually changed it to.
They should have made that movie.
Yeah, they should have. So it seemed like they were going to have this great fight at the end. Like it's building to this thing that's like Samuel L. Jackson breaks them all out. They're going to have this Bruce Willis, breaks out of his cell. The Horde comes back. Like, it was like the whole thing was building to this fight. And then they give you just like an out of nowhere scenario. Like, I kind of thought maybe the psychiatrist was bad, but the whole thing, they fight for a little bit, and then they end up shooting the Horde, and then they drown Bruce Willis in like a puddle, which I'm just like, in front of his son. You couldn't, and then there's more to the movie than that, but you just don't care anymore. You're just like, these are the characters I was following. They're all dead. What is this?
But maybe the point was you should have been following the other characters. What a twist.
Ugh. And I get that that's what I was expecting a twist, which I thought the twist was, the train that, killed all those people so we could find out that Bruce Willis was a superhuman. It was also the reason the Horde was made, because his father was on that train, and he wasn't around to protect him, and the mom went abusive, and like all that stuff.
Could we delve into? Would you get mad at me delving into why this movie is awful?
No, not insulting?
At all. All right, so let's start there.
Okay.
Sam Jackson in Unbreakable.
Right.
19 years ago.
Yes.
Very important, apparently. How many different accidents, fake accidents, does he cause trying to find a superhero?
I think like 4 or 5.
Right. Hundreds and hundreds of people dead.
Right.
Trying to find one person that survives.
Right.
And yet, let's go into the end of the movie.
Okay.
Okay. Continue. You were explaining it, because if you don't explain that element,
right,
then we can't explain why that element is garbage.
What, the train, the same
Hellfire Club.
The what?
The Hellfire Club, that's what I'm going to call it.
Oh, okay. So,
because they exist.
Yeah.
For what reason?
Out of nowhere, we find out that the doctor who was trying to convince them that they're not superhuman is working for an organization that has a clover on their wrist. So I'm just like, why is that a clover, number one?
And where does this top secret, super, I would imagine, powerful.
Yes.
And rich, they'd have to be.
Yes.
Organization meet, Tim?
At restaurants.
Public restaurants.
Public restaurants, which makes, again, no sense to me, because it's like, oh, we wait for like the actual customers to leave, then they lock the door on the restaurant. I'm just like, why don't you have your own freaking restaurant or a club or anything?
And how many minutes before the end of the movie do we find out that they even exist? How many minutes before the end of the movie do we see a clover?
At least, I think, 20 minutes.
I would say less than 20 minutes before the end of the movie.
You think it was less than 20?
I mean, it felt like 4 hours.
So Clover people don't have their own place. They have, public restaurants that they just take over. I mean, does everybody just wait all day?
They wait through that whole meal, and then when the last one leaves, the last person that's not one of them, somebody stands up and says, "All right, we're alone."
Yeah, and everybody just stops talking. I'm just like, it's so ridiculous.
They stop talking before somebody says we're alone.
Yeah. And the whole, she says, "Oh, we've been around for 10,000 years." And I'm like, what? What is this? Why is this even in this movie? This makes no sense. She was just like, if it was just her, and she was just like, hey, I don't know, she had, some sort of connection or something. Or maybe, her parents were killed by, Mr. Glass, one of those accidents. And this is the whole reason she's trying to, stop people from being superhuman. Would have been a better motivator than, we're an organization that's been around for 10,000 years. We all have tattoos of clovers on our wrists.
Perfectly normal.
It just makes no sense to me. And apparently they've been doing this forever, where they, if anybody with any great talent shows up, which is super stupid, did you try to kill Da Vinci? Or, I'm just like, it makes no sense why they, come out of nowhere.
Here's a better one.
Okay.
They ignored Sam Jackson for 19 years.
Yeah.
Why?
I have no clue. That made no sense to me, too.
Also, let's finish the end of the movie, and then we can really dive deep into the garbage that was this. Okay.
So at the very end of the movie, Samuel Jackson, in his last stroke of genius...
Was it?
I have no clue. Records everything, puts it on a public or a private website, I think.
Yep.
And then sends, I guess, the link to his mother, David Dunn's son, and
Captain Pupils,
and I guess the Split. No, actually, no, the Split Girl too. Casey, and then from there, they put it out online, all the footage of, the Horde flipping cars, and David Dunn, and him fighting, and, basically just, tearing metal doors down, all that stuff, and put it online, and then go to a train station.
For no reason.
I don't know why, and then just watch as people, see it on their phones and their tablets and stuff, all the footage of the fight and stuff, and then that reveals that, hey, people are superhuman, and I just don't understand how that's going to be, so that means people are going to start becoming superhuman all of a sudden.
Yep.
It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure why they need to do that, and drown Bruce Willis, and shoot the Horde, and kill Samuel Jackson's character.
Let's go back to the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Okay.
All right. So right before James McAvoy, the Horde, who has a nickname in public, for some reason.
The Beast? No, wait.
No, they call him the Horde.
Yeah, they call him the Horde.
How they know that name?
Yeah, I don't know.
How do they know that?
Oh,
because he's never called that in the first movie.
He is. They called we called them ourselves the Horde. He says it to Casey.
Says that?
He says it to Casey.
Oh, does he? Okay. Well,
I'm pretty sure he says it to Casey.
Okay. So the doctor shows up.
Right.
American Horror Story, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
We'll call her Sandra Bullock's sister.
I think it's from Bird Box. Sarah Paulson, I want to say.
Sarah Paulson.
Yes.
Bus Jelly.
Bus Jelly, yes.
She shows up, and she knows the Horde's name, which is fine, I guess. How does she know David Dunn's name?
That is kind of a weird thing.
Because she calls him by name.
She does.
How?
I'm guessing that they're... And this is honestly me guessing, because they don't really reveal this, that she somehow knew his connection to Samuel Jackson. Like maybe Samuel Jackson said something about it. I have no clue. It was or maybe the organization has been following.
No, because she just arrives there. You got to remember, she just arrived at that asylum that day.
Right.
So it can't be from Sam Jackson, who's been comatose, and she didn't know he was comatose.
Right.
Because she has the reaction of, like, why is he dosed?
Right. So, yeah.
This movie's garbage.
There's a lot of plot holes.
So many plot holes.
So many plot holes. And I'm not even sure, like...
Can we go earlier than that to the first plot hole that
What?
I really have an issue with?
Sure.
So Split.
Yes.
What is the entire lead up to? What is the lead up to for James McAvoy's character? What's his big twist?
The Beast?
Right, the Beast.
Yes.
Who does not show up on command.
Right.
At all.
No.
Okay? Why is it like flipping a switch in Glass?
It is kind of weird.
Because one of the first things he does is they're going to sacrifice a bunch of homeless girls, or not cheerleaders,
Right.
to him. And they're having this ritual, but instead he takes off into a sewer and presumably eats a homeless guy.
Yeah. Because in Split, they do reference it, but later on he just comes out whenever he wants to. But in Split, they make a reference that the Beast lives underground. And, like, in the train station. So the first time you see the Beast in Split is when that guy gets on the train, and then the Beast comes out and he runs out the back of the train, or the subway train. So that's what I thought they were referencing when he first turns into the Beast. He walks down into that, like, underground area, and then the Beast comes out. Which made sense to me, but then later on in the movie, it's just like, oh, the Beast can just come out whenever. That's when I was just like, oh, so it's not like, oh, the Beast lives underground, he needs that cue to, like, come out. And also, the lights flashing thing. Where does that come from?
Science. I guess that's the way it works.
I don't think so, because I don't remember any, like, light flashing thing.
I remember him getting shot.
Like...
But they were wet bullets.
Yeah. That whole thing. The whole... Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, it just, like, I have no idea why that has to, like, happen. But because they don't make reference to the light flashing in the other ones to stop the Beast or change the personalities. I think the thing that they had saying to change the personality was to call out the guy's actual name, Kevin something Crumb. I forget what his middle name was, but they call out Kevin Crumb and 3 times, and he actually the actual person, person he comes out and has control for like a while. So I don't understand that whole thing with, like, we flash lights at him and we can change his personalities on command. I don't know where that came from.
How about showing up at an asylum and in that same day already having a giant mega tub of water outside it?
Yes.
And piping throughout an entire room in said asylum, which is secured with a giant metal door.
Right.
That if you go near the walls, the water sprays all over you.
Right.
How does that happen?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Did anybody, stop him? Here's the problem, right? Split works perfect.
Yes.
If it's not connected to anything.
It's true.
Why did it need to be? Did he really just... Do you think...
Well, alright. To that effect, I do remember when Unbreakable happened, Bruce Willis said in an interview that there were more movies planned after Unbreakable that would involve that character. But that was, I forget, 15 years ago?
19.
19 years ago. I thought they said it was 15.
No, he keeps saying 19 years.
Alright, I thought he said 15, but yeah.
Maybe in real life it was 15.
15. But anyways, and M. Night Shyamalan was kind of mad at Bruce Willis. He's like, don't say anything yet. I guess he wanted to eventually make those movies, which were Split and Glass. He had them planned out, I guess, accordingly. But they really don't need to be connected at all, except for Glass, which shouldn't really exist. It was just really badly done. I mean, what you thought was going to happen, I don't know if he was trying to, shoot down people's expectations and do something different, but I think he swung for the fence and really just that it went right past him.
Well, Unbreakable was kind of a flop, right?
It did okay, and it has like a good fan base behind it.
But it didn't review well.
It didn't review, super.
So here's what I think he did.
Right.
I think he made this movie Split.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, people like this.
Right.
And then he retconned in some stuff before they finished. And
right.
He was like, alright, let's make this change, this change, this change. Bruce Willis, come on down. We're going to make you part of this.
Okay.
Because we're going to make a sequel. And I think he made it a sequel.
Right.
But I don't think it ever was.
Right.
And I think he did it because he's got a lot of pride. So now he can say, "Oh, look what I planned."
Right.
And then then he's got to follow it up, right? And he's just like like scribbling on paper, like in poop, I would imagine.
Or maybe it was because his last couple movies have been like either like they're okay or they're not good. Like it's like kind of like hit or miss with him. Sometimes like Split was good, but The Last Airbender, complete garbage.
There was also The Visit.
The Visit, which is okay, but like it wasn't a big success.
Devil,
which whatever that is.
The Happening, which is hilarious.
Exactly. So it's like Happening was like okay, but really didn't make sense. Like there's a lot of stuff here. And
do you think maybe if he just made 15-minute movies, he would be like an acclaimed director? Like if
he made just short films?
Just short films.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it just seems like these, like, because it's undeniable that Sixth Sense, it's a great movie. I think that's probably his best movie.
I would argue
that
The Sixth Sense is a great plot twist.
Yes.
And a terrible movie.
No. I think it's a good movie.
That acting and that writing.
Yes.
Terrible.
What? Bruce Willis is great in that.
Is he?
He is.
He's basically comatose.
But that's kind of the point of it.
No, I don't think that's. I think that's just Bruce Willis. I don't think Bruce Willis has attempted to act in a role since 1999.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think? What about Red?
I don't think he was acting. I think he just showed up and he shot some stuff. I think he has more fun in an action movie.
Yeah, I do think that.
Than he'll ever have in a drama.
It's true.
And his movies turn out okay sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they turn out like Glass.
Right.
But I feel like Shyamalan's just a terrible scriptwriter. I think he just focuses on one thing, which is his Shyamalan twist.
Yeah.
And it worked for him once, so therefore it has to work for him forever.
Right. Or maybe that's kind of what he's been stuck with. They're like, maybe the people that produce his movies, like, well, what's the twist? What's the twist? Like,
No, I don't think so.
Sometimes, like, people are like, oh, I'm going to see an M. Night Shyamalan film, I expect a twist at the end, kind of thing.
Okay, then explain The Last Airbender.
I didn't watch more than 10 minutes of it.
There's no twist, Tim.
Yeah.
The twist was, it's still bad.
Oh, the twist was, they should never have made it.
I just think that he feels that that's his mark. And you know the other problem with this movie is like the rest of it, the cinematography is great.
Oh yeah, it's beautifully done.
And it's filmed in 100 different ways.
Yes.
I love that everybody has their own theme.
Right.
So, if you're paying attention throughout them, actually.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Glass, everything purple. He's always got purple going.
Right.
The Protector? What's his stupid name?
The Overseer or something?
Overseer.
Green. Yeah.
And, James McAvoy is always yellow.
Yes. Like a yellow or an orange or something along those lines.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I think they even had it in the poster. But if you watch throughout the movie, like the gear they wear, like it's always those.
And
colors.
even musically, you can hear like when it's more of Bruce Willis's theme from Unbreakable come out, the heroic theme. It's very subtle. Mr. Glass, I think, even has his own theme, and I'm pretty sure the Horde, James McAvoy's character, has like their own theme as well.
Yeah, his is like a Hitchcocky feel.
Right. Which I thought that worked very well. I just wish they had spent a little more time coming up with a better script.
But I would say that the reason Split is a good movie isn't because it's a great script.
Right.
It's because James McAvoy is excellent.
Oh, yeah.
And this movie is 80% him.
Yes.
Bruce Willis is barely in it.
Barely in it. But also, I've heard he's kind of like I don't know, pulled back on some of his acting stuff a little bit, too.
You think?
Yeah.
He pulls back on his acting while he's on screen.
Yeah. But he wasn't... I mean, he was, like, okay in this. Like, not terrible, but not, like, his best self. But I think he did okay.
And then, Sam Jackson was also barely doing anything.
But... True. Very true, but also... I think it was kind of like he didn't really have to because he was supposed to be comatose through most of it.
Which was a terrible idea.
Which I think was... I mean, he did... Like, when he's finally awake and, around... He does great. I mean, I think it was better that he was, not comatose through this whole movie. It would have been much better.
And what's her name was good? The doctor?
The doctor, yes. Sarah Paulson, she does a great job. She even has her own color, too. It's like pink.
Yeah.
Or like a white. Like it's a pinkish white kind of like...
A nurse theme.
Yeah. And then
The kid has the dilated pupils.
Yes. Jeez. And what does Casey have?
There's a name for it. Oh my gosh.
Paisley?
No, I was gonna say that condition where you fall for your kidnappers.
Oh,
That's her theme.
Not Munchausen's. Munchausen? No.
Doesn't really matter. She has that.
Yes. Which, yeah, I can see that a little bit. But, so...
The best scene in that movie involves none of the main actors. It involves the little kid Sam Jackson going on his little ride.
And you know what? That is actually a cut scene from Unbreakable.
Oh, it's from the original movie?
It was from the original.
So the best scene in that movie wasn't even from that movie?
No.
Is what you're saying to me?
It was from the original movie that they had cut. My friend actually, I used to work at a bookstore. This guy, Ray, he was a comedian. He had a friend in Philadelphia said, hey, can you be an extra in this movie? And he didn't know what it was at the time, but they actually filmed that day at like I forget where it was in Philadelphia, but at like a fairground or whatever. And he said it was like raining and cold. He said it was like, he's like, I've never been that cold in my life. We just had to keep doing takes and stuff. And he's like just a background extra. But yeah, that's from the first movie. So,
but it wasn't in it.
It wasn't in it. They cut it. I guess they figured it was too long anyways.
But that was the best scene in this movie. That makes me sad. Yeah.
But this is another thing. They also have like a lot of footage from the first movie in this one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Unbreakable footage in this. So...
This movie would have been a lot better had it ended 20 minutes earlier.
Yes. And not drown Bruce Willis. The Clover thing, they could have skipped it. Don't understand it. Didn't even give them a name. Just like, we're Clover people. We didn't even say that they were like the name of their organization. Anything about them. Other than they just don't like people that are better than everybody else or something like that.
They don't take sides, though.
Yes, they don't take sides. They kill everybody. Which I'm just like, but that's your side. And how do you, like, what do you go around, kneecapping NFL players? No.
So that's
or Olympians? It makes no sense to me.
That's where we left that off, though. So, the entire plot of this movie...
Yes.
...hinges on the fact that this group exists that you don't find out about until 15 minutes from the end.
Right.
and then they lose. And
Yeah,
therefore
ultimately.
don't matter anymore.
Right.
So the entire plot of this movie didn't matter.
Right.
Except they killed the people that you cared about in any way.
Right. And then said it was an origin story.
Yeah, it's not...
To nobody. To nobody. For nothing and nobody. It was just like, hey, it's an origin story. I was like, no, it's not an origin story. Because if it was an origin story, it would be about one of these three characters. And it's not about one of these three characters. Unbreakable was Bruce Willis's, and like Samuel Jackson's kind of introduction. Split was about, the introduction of the Beast and the Horde and all that. Who is this introducing? Nobody.
They're gone.
It's ending it.
Like, even if they set up that particular group
Right.
in an entire film,
Right.
they don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they literally have no purpose now.
Yes. No idea. If he makes another one after this called, like, The Clover People or something like that, it's ridiculous.
I hope he makes one after this and he calls it Happening 2.
Mocky Mock comes back.
Can we point out the fact that he felt the need to bring himself back in this one, too?
Yeah, I saw that, and I was just like, I get you do this for all your movies, but really?
Why does he need to talk?
I don't know.
And why did he need to point out that he was in the first one? Hey, did you used to work at the stadium? I hung out with a bad group then.
I don't even remember him, like, in the...
He's the guy that tries to bring the gun in.
Oh, is that him?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember that.
I'm pretty sure. He definitely shows up in the first one.
No, I do remember.
And Bruce Willis, stops him.
Yeah. And I know he was in Split as the security guy at that building that the older psychiatrist lived at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. So, that's our opinion on this. As always, sorry, we're just ending here. But we'll be... I'm trying to think what the next movie is coming out.
I don't even know.
Is it Shazam?
Maybe. This makes me want to not watch movies anymore.
Maybe it's not M. Night Shyamalan movies.
I feel like the ones I like of his are the ones everybody hates.
Which ones do you like?
I like Happening. A
Okay.
lot.
Okay.
A lot.
Really?
Yeah, I really like that movie. It's hilarious.
Okay.
And then I like Signs.
Oh, I like Signs. Signs was a good movie.
And I like Devil.
Really?
Yeah, I really like Devil. It's stupid. It's campy.
Okay.
It's a B movie, which is exactly that's the tier he should be at. And they keep giving him credit.
I know.
Like, I feel like I should see him on a straight to Netflix film. M. Night Shyamalan's Bird Box.
No.
No, you're right. It would have had a worse twist.
Yeah. I don't know.
Could it have had a worse twist?
Bird
Box?
Well, I was going to say Glass.
I don't
even know if it's really a twist. I don't know.
What, Bird Box?
Well, yeah, I guess it is a twist.
The twist is, spoiler alert, Bird Box is better than Glass.
Yes.
But I'm going to spoil it for you. The twist is that the people that are guiding Sandra Bullock
Yes.
to safety
Yes.
are blind.
Yeah. I don't know if that's so much a twist, though.
No, that's the twist, because they're alive because they can't see.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know what it was a good twist in?
What?
Not the Book of Eli either.
That's true. Oh, you know what? Next week we're definitely going to have to talk your review of Bumblebee. Because you did see that.
I did.
And you did enjoy it.
I did.
So let's, since this week was about a movie we didn't like, maybe next week we'll have to watch, or talk about a movie you did
It wasn't as good as The Last Night.
Oh, if you're saying that, then you can just skip the Bumblebee.
You didn't see Transformers The
I
Last Night.
did see.
Did you watch all of it?
No, I couldn't. I
You
couldn't
didn't
get past
see-
Merlin, drunken Merlin, getting Dragonbot, which is not even a Transformer.
Anthony Hopkins goes toe-to-toe with a Decepticon.
Ugh.
Anthony Hopkins, in human Anthony Hopkins form, decides to go toe-to-toe with a Decepticon.
Does it just boom, flatten him?
No.
Oh, there's an actual fight?
Oh, you have to watch it.
I will
See,
not.
Now you're interested.
I've seen the beginning, and
What a twist.
I've seen the end, and that is all I need to see.
Oh, you saw the end too?
I did. Holy garbage.
The space battle?
Yes. Or Unicron, or whatever the heck that thing was.
Unicorn?
Yeah.
It's pronounced unicorn.
Unicorn. Yeah, that whole thing. I was like, what is this movie? And why is Marky Mark still in them? Makes no sense.
He's the best part. He's a Witwicken.
He's not a Witwicky.
Witwicken.
Witwicken?
Yeah, that's what they're called.
I thought they were Witwicky.
No, that's their new name is Witwicky, but their ancestors are Witwickens. Tim, learn the lore.
Oh my god!
If you're going to talk about the Transformers
And on that note, before we open that whole can of stuff, wow.
I'll watch it again before next time.
I will watch none of it
and
be happy and be a happier person.
Dollar store nearby that has a copy.
$1 too much for that movie. Steal it online for free.
Wow.
Steal that movie because it's not even worth it. All right. So, as always, we're Precarious Pixels. You can find us online. I am at Tim Martinek on the Instagrams. Bob is...
I'm at Martin, MARTON _ Bob on Twitter.
Right.
And I'm at the opposite of that on Instagram, Bob Martin.
Nice.
Yeah.
And as always, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, and YouTube. And just look up hashtag Precarious Pixels. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Transformers.
To do a little redesigning with us, you can find Bob at Martin, MARTON _BOB on Twitter. And you can find me on Instagram at Tim Martinek, all one word, TIMMARTINEC. And you can join in us, have some fun, do your redesigns for this week's redesign. It's a lot of fun for us to do this, but we like to see fresh ideas and fresh artists like doing what they do as well. You can also hashtag it Precarious Pixels and we'll find it as well.